Hello, guys, and welcome back to another episode of First Gen Talks. Today, I am here with First Gen student Kamila. Can you please introduce yourself?
Hello, I'm Kamila Almazan. I am president of the Association of Latinx Hispanic Advocates and Allies, or ALHAA for short, and I'm also a first gen student.
Yeah, so I actually just met her today, so I know nothing. Can you please just what are you studying? What year are you? And just rudimentary info.
So I'm a sociology major. I love sociology. I also have a minor in Mexican American Studies, and I am a sophomore.
Hmm. So could you I know I just like this is like the main thing. I know that you're president of your org. Like, how did that come about? And you're like, it's your second year. How do you get so involved? Can you just explain that process a little bit?
Um, I think the way I got involved was really interesting because I was living on campus my freshman year, and they were doing this like Hispanic Heritage Month sort of like event. And ALHA was tabling, and I met the other officers, and they were like, "Oh, you should join." They were all so nice, you know. And I was like, "Okay, I'll give it a shot." And I was looking for a free like Hispanic Latino org on campus because I'm a college student, of course. And I started going to some of their events. I got really close with a lot of the officers there, and they were like, "Hey, you should be a like." They gave me the position of intra-organizational affairs director, which is just a fancy way of saying that I was really well connected my freshman year. Like
Mm.
I was joining all these orgs. I really wanted to get involved and meet new people. And they were like, "That's really cool. You should help ALHA connect with more organizations." And so yeah, they gave me that position. And then our president of that semester graduated, and I think our vice president too. And they were like, "Hey, you want to be vice president?" And I was like, "Yeah, of course." And so I became vice president. And then last semester, our president graduated. And so they were like, "Hey, since you're already vice president, we're promoting you essentially." And
Mm.
so now I'm president.
Nice. Um, taking actually two questions. My first question is, as a member, not president, was there an event or an action that you did, um, that is like really stuck with you, is memorable, and why was that?
Um, I don't, I don't really think so. I was honestly, I like at like the first semester I joined them. I was kind of like on and off in like events. I wasn't
Mm.
really as involved. And I don't know, I guess the next semester after, I had started becoming more involved because there was more events happening on campus. We have a fundraiser every year with a local like boba shop. And I
Mm.
think that's one of my favorite
That's
events
pretty
we
cool.
do because we all like kind of talk, we play like little games, and we like do study stuff together. So, um, I guess to like rephrase the question that you asked, I think that's more so my favorite thing to do for ALHA.
Yeah. So even if it's like not a big event, this podcast we try to not show a vulnerable side, but show like a connection that students can relate to. So why the reason why weren't you involved? Was there or I don't know if I want to go into that or not. You just it wasn't convenient for your schedule.
Oh yeah, it was like I was really busy, and again,
Mm.
I involved myself in a lot of other organizations, and they really at first they didn't really have like events that I was able to go to because of either like class or like I had another commitment that day.
Mm.
Um, but then I just sort of started going to more meetings, and I went to their like last general meeting of the semester, and I thought that was really nice because they gave out like, "Oh, if you're like most involved member gets these prizes," or like,
Mm.
"Oh, we're
Sweet.
celebrating our seniors and like officers that are graduating," and it really felt like a community, I suppose. And I was like, you know what, I think I want to be more involved with what they do.
Yeah. So my second question was taking it back a bit, like right before college. Was college? I always ask this because at least for first gen students, was college a certainty, or was it just like it's pending? I don't know, financial situation, or how was that process for you?
So I went to a college prep. I went to a college prep school. And so college was always drilled into our brain. They're
Mm.
like, you need to go to college, you need to get a good career. And so to me, college was always something that was on my mind and something that was always going to do.
Mm.
Where I was going, I think that was more of a trickier question. I had originally planned to go to Rice, but I got rejected.
Oh
Um,
man.
yeah, it really sucked. But and then I got offered a scholarship to go to UH, the Houston Rodeo Scholar, which I'm wearing a jacket right now.
Mm.
They're like, hey, you should go to UH and we'll give you money. And I was like, as like a first gen student who came from a low income family, my family was ecstatic. So and now I'm here, which as I continue my years here at UH, I'm really glad and grateful that I didn't wind up like switching or like transferring out.
Mm. So you said you had a scholarship from the rodeo. How'd that work? Like you just applied, or were you involved with the? Because I know some offer was that they raise an animal and they get like certain money. I don't know if that's what you
Yeah, it's like there's like the livestock part
did.
of the rodeo, and I think there's like the art competition as well. What I did is that I applied through like their like low income like scholarship, I think, where you write an essay about um hey, my life is kind of rough right now. It would be great if you gave me money to go to college. Um and yeah.
And applying to these things, were you like always like I'm on it, or did you need like family support, friend support? Um, yeah.
Originally I wasn't going to apply cuz I was like very set on going to Rice, but
Mm.
my college advisor in high school was like you should probably have a backup plan and apply anyways. And I'm really grateful that she wanted to pushing me in that sort of direction because I feel like I would have been completely lost if I
Mm.
didn't have that sort of backup plan. And the funny thing is, I remember when I got the email that I got the scholarship, I was sick that day. And so it was just so funny when I was like, you know, not in like the best
Physical
like
state.
physical state. And then the rodeo was like, congratulations, you won our like it's the Hildebrand scholarship. And I was like, wow, I wish I wasn't sick right now, but I was
Yeah.
like texting everyone. I was
Yeah.
like, I can't believe I won. I'm so glad that I ended up applying. And yeah, that was really cool.
So would you say as a first gen student, at least for your own experience, being able to pivot and being able to adapt is like needed?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
Because things don't always go the way you plan, but understanding that it doesn't mean the end of your career or whatever plans or dreams you have is really important.
Hmm. So, like, what would you advise a student in first gen student in a similar situation?
I would say if always take advantage of opportunities given to you, whether or not you know you're going to need them or not, because more likely than not, you're probably going to use them in some way
Hmm.
in the future. Um, and I think always having a backup plan as well, and try to be flexible. Um, and connect with other people because connections will get you far. I promise you.
True.
And I know that's like a cliche thing to say. Like,
It's kind of true.
yeah, it's like no, it's true. It's true,
it's
guys.
cliche for a reason.
I promise it's true. But yeah.
Hmm. So, going back to your org, going back to your org, have you had an event like these last semesters that was like, okay, this is I'm making an impact, I'm contributing, and you know, could you explain a little bit about that one?
We do a lot of know your rights events,
Hmm.
which I feel like make a really big impact considering what is going on right now.
Hmm.
And so it's just reminding people that they have power and that they have rights is really important. And I think that's sort of the more impactful stuff we do. But we also do volunteer work. Quite recently, we helped with the Memorial Herman Conservatory, plant like plants around like their green spaces, and that was really fun. And that's a couple of the things that we currently do right now. We're planning a lot more things, but they're still kind of in the planning phases.
So, would you say that you're like, is it too much to say you're selfless?
Um,
Because it'll go on to my next question.
Selfless.
Are you just like helping people?
I really like helping
Okay.
people.
Would you say that came from your own experience of like having struggles and being able to offer help and like, or would you say it was just always like in you to?
I think it's a little bit of that, realizing that I've struggled in similar ways and then realizing that people don't have to struggle as much as I did. and knowing that I can help with that is really important to me. My mom was also really involved when I was like in an elementary school and like like middle school. She was like always all over the place, and she was trying to gain all these like really important skills in order to help like other people. um I know that she did a lot of like um she got notarized, she got like voter registration certified because she can register people to vote, or she used to. I don't know if she still is,
Mm.
but it's all these little things. And then she would also help out my brother a lot, and because my brother's autistic and he had a lot of trouble navigating this really complicated school system that wasn't offering him a lot of support. But I think through her and seeing how she was doing her best to make an impact in her community really encouraged me to do the same,
Mm.
honestly. Even if it felt like I didn't have much, I feel like with what I have, and like with what I have in order to help people, is really why I do all these things.
Nice. You're gonna ask something else?
No, that's it.
Oh, okay, yeah. So what do you think, or yeah, what do you think makes a first gen student successful? Like, what traits should they have? Should they develop? They should prioritize, and like habits.
I think first gen students are often really resilient, especially with like a lot of the backgrounds they come from. And applying to college is no easy feat. There's so many things you have to consider, fees you have to pay, things to keep track of, and oftentimes you're doing it alone. I would say I have a little bit of privilege in that regard where I was able to get help from, my college counselors who've
Mm.
been through this process so many times before. But it's also like they have a bunch of other students to help out, and also finding ways to navigate it as well. And I think it's also finding ways to afford college as well, because I know a lot of first gen students have to seek out like work in order to fund this higher education. So definitely resilience and like pushing forward, and I think also never giving up.
Mm.
Um, and I think also like a sort of pivoting a lot.
Mm.
Like, oh, maybe I'll just go to community college first, which is, by the way, nothing wrong with going to community college. I know in high school I often heard a lot of my fellow peers like make
Don't go.
they don't, not that they don't go, it's that they made fun of a lot of people who went like go to community college
Mm.
first. My brother went to community college. And honestly, I don't think there's anything wrong with going. Community college is great, especially if you feel like you can't handle like whole like 4 years all at once.
Mm.
Um, and I think that's for first gen students. I think something that also needs to sort of work on is like pacing yourself. Now that we're on the topic of community college, like 4 years isn't always for everyone. And that's why there's so many options out there as well. And knowing when to take a break. That's what Miss Kathleen often tells me. Miss Kathleen at CSE, I love her. But it's a lot of like learning your own capacity, seeing what other options are out there, and realizing, you know, it's okay to take a break, and knowing how to move forward from that. I don't know if that really answered the question, but
Yeah, I think so. So you mentioned you were involved with CSC. How did you get involved with the Center for Student Empowerment?
freshman year they were doing the like, I think they do a lot of like the socials. I remember my first year, and they
Mm.
were like first gen social, and I was like, hey, I'm a first gen. And so I like went. Again, I met Miss Kathleen. Um, we talked a little bit, and I was like, oh, you know what? Maybe this will help me when I'm doing the rest of my studies here. And so I joined. I talked to her a little bit, and I started getting more involved with them. I'm really involved with CSC. I do a
Mm.
lot of volunteer work with them. I'm actually going to be a panelist for one of their events coming up.
Mm.
But yeah.
So and you don't have to answer this because it might be a little bit personal, but because first gen students have like a recurring theme of like hard work, dedication, and their family plays a big part in it. And I'm gonna guess they were a big part of it. And like, how was that for you? Because it's like a bit different for like every student.
Sorry, could you repeat the question?
So like how impactful was your family in just like, your journey through education, applying financials? Because I know financials is a big part. You know.
Yeah. My family plays a big part, at least in like this support system type way. Applying, they weren't particularly that helpful because they never really
Yeah.
they never really went to college and or applied to college in the United States.
Hmm.
Um, so it's like very new navigating all this, but support wise, they've been very supportive. They're like, hey, um, we have a place if you ever need to stay somewhere. And I do because dorming here is really expensive.
Right.
And they're like, hey, if you ever need to pay for like extra classes, we have a fund set aside. Because I know I failed my Spanish, one of my Spanish requirements for like forever ago,
Hmm.
and they were annoyed, but they were like, we are willing to like give you money to like take it at the community college nearby, and um it was a lot of paying in parts, but in that regard they've been really like supportive. And I'm always they're always my father especially, he's always like, if you ever see them giving out free stuff, make sure you get me free stuff so I can like show it off to my friends and tell them that my like daughter's going to university and pursuing her degree. um and just sort of these little, they're kind of they're always been my cheerleaders, I guess. And I
Hmm.
guess whatever decisions I make in the future, they're always going to be supportive, even if they seem very hesitant at it at first. But I know that they're always going to be there for me, and they've always have.
Hmm. I think going back to my earlier question was like, is there some habits that you do specifically that like gets you on the roll? It could be like something small in the morning, something maybe winding down in the day, that you could like offer to first gen students.
Um, if you feel yourself getting burnt out, um, remember, take a break. And engage in something that you enjoy. Because I know when I'm feeling like very like overwhelmed and I feel like I can't keep like working, I sew a lot.
Hmm.
Um, or like I hang out with my cats. But just finding something that you enjoy and like taking your mind off things can really help. And also knowing your own capacity. Um, like I have really my ADHD is kind of bad, so I procrastinate a lot, which I wouldn't recommend people doing, but I have accommodations for that sort of. Um, but again, just knowing your own capacity, finding things you enjoy, and doing them when you're feeling stressed out. And it never hurts to just step back for like a few like days, um, and come back to things in the morning or like later in the afternoon. Give yourself time to think. And that's a lot of what I do as a president. Sometimes everything's coming to me all at once, and I have to tell my other officers that I cannot be the most productive president I can be if I just keep going. So I need a break. Yeah.
So like time management
Time
is
management.
really crucial.
It's really crucial.
Okay. What do you sew? I'm curious.
What do I sell?
Yeah.
I do a lot of sewing and crafts.
Like quilts or like blankets or
I wish.
sweaters.
I embroider these journals. These
Hmm.
are like craft paper, and then I embroider little designs on them. Sometimes you might see me at like little markets on campus. Like I went to one yesterday. That was really fun.
Hmm.
But I just embroider little characters on like canvases or like journals, and I sew these like little felt frogs that are really popular.
Hmm.
They're really badly made, but they're just like so fun looking, and people always like be like, "Oh, I want like five." Um,
Oh, so you sew a lot
I sell a lot.
of the frogs?
I sold them for like $1. They're
Oh.
like, yeah, because they're really easy to make, and
Hmm.
they're not. I would they're not the bestly
Hmm.
made. I also make earrings. And that's just a couple of the things that I like make in my spare time. But yeah.
Um. Yeah. Like again, I'm not really I'm not informed about your org, So are they like really into like Hispanic culture? Like is
Yes,
that a big part of it?
that is
Just
a
like
big part. Like,
can you explain that a little bit?
so in our name, it's Latinx, Hispanic Advocates and Allies. I know Latinx has a little, it's a little murky to some people, but
Yeah.
yeah.
What does that even mean? I always hear it. I really don't know.
Latinx refers to non-binary, like Latinos.
Hmm.
Um, you can also use Latine. That's
Like what?
Latine
I
with an
haven't heard
e at
that
the
one.
end. Yeah, it's
Like Native Americans?
no, it's Latine, like also non-binary Latino, Latine.
Oh, okay.
It's Latine. Sometimes you search them out, but um, honestly, it really depends on the person you're talking to. Um, I don't want to be like get too into it, but like, cause I'm not non-binary, so I can't really say much. But I
Hmm.
know that it also depends on the person, like, and how they want to be labeled. Um, and uh, personally, I don't think cis people should really try to dictate like Latinx is bad. It's really I think listening to the community is really important. And we are it's something that we're still trying to navigate ourselves, trying to get more involved in like you know the LGBTQ community as well because it is in our name. Um, but that outreach is a work in progress right now. We sort of had to actually like restructure the whole org.
Hmm.
um, it's
What is that?
um, we thought the structure wasn't being particularly productive, and I think we sort of needed to sort of rethink about what we wanted to be as an org, I guess, and like what our true mission is, which is, by the way, connect Latinos and Hispanic community together with people who like support us. Um, so yeah, ALHAA has just always been this org that is meant to connect Latinos and Hispanic in on campus and advocate for our needs and our identities, which are often, sort of discredited or whitewashed or sort
Hmm.
of erased.
Hmm. So, obviously you're still a sophomore, but 2 years go by quick. Is there like a thought of like legacy or like, remembrance? Not remembrance. It sounds kind of doomer. No, more like legacy. Yeah, of like, oh, I want to be at least in my org or like the people around me. I want them to remember me and like the work that I did and that create like an actual impact. Is like, is that in your head? Any?
I feel like I never really thought about it, but I guess if you were to ask me, I guess um I just want to be the person that's like got ALHA really well connected with
Hmm.
people around campus, I guess.
So growing the org.
Growing the org
Yeah.
especially and like being able to make it the most I guess productive it can possibly be, but you know, running an org takes time and a lot of effort.
Yeah.
Um but
How many members do you have?
active we have like I want to say like 15. Enrolled we had like 200, but
200.
yeah.
Was like the active member
The
goal.
active member goal, I think we want to reach. Actually, we were going to talk about that, but I think more like 50 at least, 50 active members. We're working on outreach right now. We were going to do tablings, but we're still planning those.
Hmm. So going back to like more like your experience, not your experience, but like I guess my question is like, how does your day to day look like as the president and like handling school? Do you work?
Uh,
It's fine if you don't.
kind of. I only say kind of because it's like sort of ambassador sort of thing.
What is
With
that?
so it's like mentor. Like you know what? It's more like a mentor program
Hmm.
where
And you get paid.
yes, I get
Oh,
paid
okay.
in a stipend. I work with this organization called Breakthrough Houston. CC actually works with them a little bit, but um, it's essentially a organization that prepares like middle schoolers and high schoolers for college. Um, and it's for low income students. And they have this like college program called what was it? Call wait. College completion. Breakthrough college completion And what I do essentially is mentor like freshman breakthrough students on like at UH to try to get them connected with like, organizations, departments. We also do little socials where they can like get to know us because it's me and one other person mentoring and like each other, and just sort of build a strong like breakthrough community at UH. Um, and so a lot of my job there is, planning these events. Um, so yeah, that's a little bit. Um, and then I also have to schedule meetings with the other officers as well. And then I have my whole schedule like kind of blocked out. But it's also like connecting to officers, replying to emails, connecting to like departments and like off-campus organizations or like even on-campus organizations to like collaborate. Um, I've been also having to look into like more fundraising opportunities we can do as well. It's a lot of technical stuff, I think, like, setting up meetings, looking for ways to fundraise, and connecting a lot of definitely a lot of networking.
Hmm.
Um, and that's just a little bit of what I do as president. And also like addressing like members or even officer concerns that might arise the occasion, and also representing ALHAA as like a whole, which is what I'm kind of doing right now.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah,
How's classes?
classes.
And how does that like intermingle with like your other stuff?
Um, I've been trying to work on that balance a little better. Um, I have like 2 online classes that are like asynchronous, so I don't have a professor presenting, and then I have like, was it like 3? Yeah, 3 in-person classes. And they're kind of like distributed along the week.
Hmm.
So, like today from like 2:30 to like 5:30, I have like a whole like break in between classes. And then Fridays I have off, and then
That's what you're
Wednesdays I'm just, yeah, that's why I'm here. And then like what is it, like Mondays I have like one class. So it's like,
Hmm.
yeah, so
It's
it's
not
like
too overwhelming.
it's not too overwhelming. Um I just need to make sure I keep track of like up on like assignments online, which I've mentioned before, of like ADHD. So it's like trying not to procrastinate or trying not to leave things last minute or forgetting about things I need to do.
Hmm. So going back to like more like career oriented, do you have like a dream job that you want or you're pursuing, or like it's in the back of your mind?
It's I'm still trying to figure that out.
Hmm.
I think I might go to graduate school, but it's just something that I'm still trying to figure out what I
What
want
would
to do.
you potentially study
Um,
in
I,
graduate school?
I want to do a lot of like sort of research with like nonprofits.
Hmm.
Um, I'm talking to one of my sociology professors about what I could do in graduate school, and she's been trying to like help me figure out like what careers. I know there's a sociology career class that I might take, but figuring out what I want to do is kind of difficult when I really don't know what the options are. I just kind of know that I just want to get a sociology degree because I love sociology.
You're what?
Hmm?
Wait, repeat that last part again.
I said I really love sociology.
Why is that?
Um, it's essentially the study of like society and like communities and people on like a more like larger scale. Psychology is more like on the individual scale.
Hmm.
But like, so I like looking at large I like seeing like impacts, like, I guess the impacts that
At a broader scale.
I like a broader scale, yeah. Um and you know, I'm autistic, and so in high school I was like always sort of struggling to connect with people.
Hmm.
And that's for a lot of reasons, but it just kind of like wanting to understand this sort of where this stigma comes from about like, neurodivergency and like mental health. Um and like maybe like developing like programs, but just sort of being the outsider and like always trying to figure out why is sort of like one of the reasons why I'm really interested in sociology.
Hmm.
And also like kind of understanding why why societal structures exists and how they impact like lower income minority communities. um yeah.
So well, you don't have to answer this, but so you said you're autistic.
Yes.
Like, is it like a lower end spectrum type of thing,
um
or
well, autism exists on like a larger scale spectrum. You can't really be more autistic or less autistic.
really? I don't know.
um
I've heard the opposite.
and like um functioning labels are harmful, because autism is different for everybody. um we're
I guess that's what I meant.
a lot of
Yeah.
yeah a lot of the community wants to adopt more of like a higher needs autism or a lower needs autism, because it highlights more of like, yeah, people exist and
Yeah.
they have needs, and I guess depending on who you are, you have like strengths in some areas and you might need a little more help on other areas. And like the functioning label kind of labels people as like, you're not autistic enough, so you don't need accommodations, and it's like that's not how that works at all. um so yeah, so I have needs, but I think they're a little bit like lower on the kind of
That's interesting.
spectrum.
What would you say to like a fellow like first gen who's in that similar situation? Because I think you're like our not in like a weird way, but like you're our
Autistic.
sick guest.
So you see first,
Yeah.
I think always asking for help and like finding your community, which can I plug in my other org right now, real quick? If you're looking for an org to join and you feel very stranded right now, I would recommend Disabled Cougs, which I'm treasurer for. They're really great. And I think talking to other autistic people or even like fellow disabled like people or students is really helpful because it makes you feel less lonely in your struggles. And community is always nice because you can find people who relate to you and you can depend on.
Interesting. Um, I always ask I guess this, especially now. Like it's kind of recent thing I've been asking. It's like a pivot 180. Artificial intelligence. Was I always ask people's take on this.
um
It always seems to be I'm not using it, I am using it, or I'm in the middle. That's literally the only takes I hear.
um, can I curse?
Sure, yeah.
AI art. um I think that no, it's true. I hate AI art. If you're using AI art, what are you doing, guys? Pick up a pencil, pick up a paper, draw something. It doesn't have to be good. Um, yeah, you can even use paint. Like anything can be art except AI art. AI art seals. AI art is just the bane of everyone's existence. Use some creativity, man. Um, and that goes for writing as well. Like, okay,
Yeah, what about more like
academic wise,
yeah.
I think that mm, you shouldn't be using it for like writing essays because I think
Mm,
professors will pick up on that and
that's
you
true.
will get in trouble. Um, and also like if you're doing like applications for college, definitely don't use AI because they're trying to look at your like knowledge. And I feel like if you constantly use AI, it's not gonna learn anything. And it's like, what's the degree for then? If you can just sit down and like ask ChatGPT like what to write. Um, I'm actually really annoyed that AI just like Google decided to like add AI to their search engine or whatever.
Mm.
I don't know. I just feel like AI kind of like makes people dependent on it and in like a harmful way, I guess. I remember seeing this sort of I remember seeing this drama on like on like social media where this lady like falls in love with her psychiatrist and the AI just kept like feeding her delusions about like, oh my god, you're so right, bestie, you should totally like pursue this man, or like, oh my god, I can't believe he did that to you. It was more nuanced than that, but I feel like the over dependence of AI kind of makes people like smooth brained because it's like, yeah, I'm gonna ask ChatGPT what to eat for lunch, or oh, ChatGPT, write this resume for me, and I feel like you aren't gaining any skills from that you really need to gain.
Yeah, I think
Um,
oh, yes, yes.
and there's also experts in like whatever field you're like pursuing. And I think it's really important to learn from that as well.
Yeah, adding on to that, actually, I seen a research article. It says the more that you use AI to do your work completely, like your brain function decreases.
Yeah,
So
like
I'm just like, it's kind of interesting to see. So you're essentially becoming dumber by being more efficient in a sense.
yeah, like okay, okay. I don't want to excuse it at all, but I know that sometimes if you're like on a time crunch, you're like, okay, I'm just gonna like check AI. But it's like I don't think you should be using it so like frequently.
Mm.
Because again, I feel like you're not learning anything. You're just learning to like ask ChatGPT.
So you said you liked you know research or of societal impacts. What do you think will be the societal impact for artificial intelligence?
I think a lot of people are cooked, guys. I'm sorry. Um, because yeah, I see like online all the time. Because people are starting to like, with the K-pop Demon Hunter film, people were accusing it of being AI when it was just people. It's real people doing art, guys. And I think that kind of starts skewing our perception about how things are made or like how we do things. Um, and so I think ChatGPT has had a really huge societal impact. It's also like ruining like people's like lives as well, like in terms of like, oh, you're wasting people's water or you're taking up land that people could be using for homes. Um, and yeah, that's how I feel about AI.
Yeah. You think it's the future? Unfortunately or fortunately?
Um, I think it really depends on like I think it really depends on like I guess what sort of field you're going into. Because I know that AI is probably like not gonna take over art like majors, but I feel like um oh my god, I'm sorry.
That's fine.
Anyway, um again, I think it just really depends on what like field you're going into. Like I don't think artists are particularly in danger. It's just really annoying that these tech bros are like, wow, AI made this art in seconds. Oh wow, this AI made it look uh I don't know, like this AI made it easier to understand. It's like I need you to like learn some like literacy skills or like some like, art skills. But um again, I really think it depends on what field you're going into. But I don't think it's gonna completely take over. Like
Not soon or like
I don't think not soon. I mean, AI is still like algorithms that can easily fail or mess up.
yeah.
Um and it can be unreliable like a lot of the times as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't think it's gonna like take over society completely.
Hopefully not.
Hopefully not. I'm hoping not.
Maybe.
You never know.
I only say that because like Anthropics, I always say this, but Anthropics, like, they literally work for the UK government. The Pentagon was bidding on OpenAI or Anthropic. Like, these bigger moves, I'm just like, it's over now.
It's over. I don't know, man. But it's scary to think about where it's heading.
It's really weird to think about. Like, I seen the other day they put, like, human neurons into, like, a petri dish, and, like, it was able to play a game, which is not related to AI, but it's just, like, the type of technology they have now is just, like,
I do think
it makes me scratch my head a bit.
yeah, I do think our technology is going to develop a lot more in the next coming like decades probably. But I don't know if AI is really going to completely take over.
Yeah.
Probably just kind of integrate itself into day-to-day life, but not completely like take over our lives.
Well, in a sense, that's kind of taking over. I would say
What's like integrating? I feel like
integrating. Because, like, I mean, I talk to older people, and they're just like, back in my day, everything was so simple. And, like, I'm just like, okay, I really don't understand.
yeah.
I understand where they're coming from, but I don't, because obviously we never experienced that
Yeah.
before. So it's just like, I don't know. Yeah. Anyway,
Just
we have like 9 more minutes left, but like to close it off, is there any like book or movie or like something that you always go back to that's like, okay, this is like like I guess comfort movie is the thing to say, or like a comfort book, or like an inspirational book that you like reading, or a movie or show.
a book I've read so many times is actually Howl's Moving Castle.
Oh, That's a book. That was
It-
anime.
It's both. Well, the anime is based on the book. I really love it. I love the storytelling, but that's one of the books I'm reading right. Well, I read a lot. Um, we actually have a book. ALHAA has a book club.
Mm.
Um, we are currently, I can't remember what we're reading, but we've read like Bless Me Ultima. I think we're gonna read Bad Mexican soon. Um, yeah. So if you're able to come, come. And like series wise, I think it just kind of depends. I love watching like cartoon shows.
Mm.
Like
Very
the
cartoon.
I like the Owl House. I think Delicious in Dungeon's also really good. I'm waiting for the next season to come out.
Mm.
If you want a summary of that, it's essentially like this adventure group that goes into a dungeon. Like their healer gets like eaten by a dragon, and so they have to go back inside the dungeon to rescue her. And they have to eat like monsters like in the dungeon to stay alive. The storytelling and world building there is really good too. Um,
Mm.
and then there's this other series that's coming out. It's called Knights of Guinevere. It's very dystopian, very cool to look at. Um, yeah.
Mm. Is there any closing remarks, any advice, any plugs that you want to mention?
Um, I guess as president, I'm like obligated to say consider joining ALHA.
Mm.
Um, we are doing a lot of cool stuff soon. And if you're looking for a space to be disabled and make community, join Disabled Cougs as well. Um, and as a first gen student, I know college can be really difficult to navigate, but I know you guys can do it. Um, and it doesn't. I don't think it makes you a failure if you realize that college isn't ultimately for you.
Mm.
Um, which I think is another conversation we can have, but we're running out of time. Um,
Yeah.
maybe cut that out, but you're a first gen student, you can do this. I believe in you. And, I'm, well, there's always resources for you available and community like waiting for you in like open arms. So good luck out there. Um, have fun where you can and think about your degree and what an impact you'll make in the future.
Well, thank you for being here. This has been Kamila. Thank you for coming here again. And until next time, it has been a great episode. If you're listening, if you're watching, thank you. It has been a First Gen Talks. Go Cougs.
Go Cougs.